Europe is a playground for the rich and famous. It's also home to nearly 3 million millionaires. In this series, Europe's super rich open their doors to give us an exclusive glimpse into their extraordinary lives. We will find out what drives them to excel and discover how the creme de la creme spend their money. In this show, we will give you a VIP backstage pass to the glittering world of entertainment. And to 4 superstars who have made it to the top of one of the most competitive businesses in the world. We meet psychic spoonbender Uri Geller, who reveals how his millions nearly destroyed him. Next to the richest team owners in Europe, Carl Fogarty's fortune pales by comparison. Flavio Briatore, the colourful boss of Formula One team Renault, has an estimated personal fortune of over 50 million euros. Silvio Berlusconi, owner of AC Milan, is Italy's richest man with 7 billion in the bank. And Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich is one of the world's richest men. The shy tycoon is reportedly worth a staggering 11 billion euros.
I'm going to show you what actually made me famous.
What I'm doing, I'm holding it very, very gently.
It was David Dimbleby, the BBC, here in England. He invited me to the studio, picked up a spoon from the table, handed the spoon to me, and I held it like this.
It's bending very, very gently.
Come on, melt, melt. Yes, it's beginning.
It's cracking, I feel it under my fingers. See how gently it goes? It's like plastic.
And it's just giving away, it's melting away.
Look, it's like it's becoming like plastic. And it's breaking.
Look at it, there it goes.
Touch it.
When this happened on the BBC BBC's telephone system blew up. So many people called in, screaming, "My spoon is bending!" My watch started ticking. The next day, I was the most famous individual in the world.
Uri Geller is a natural-born showman. He found fame with a talent that no one has ever been able to explain.
I have 2 broken watches here. One is from a general, a Russian general, and one is a Schaffhausen. They have not worked for ages.
He became a global icon in the 70s when his telekinetic powers astonished the world and brought him riches beyond his wildest imagination.
1, 2, 3, work! Now let's see. Let's see. It's working! Is it working? Yeah? Oh, look, he's crying. זה עובד.
Israeli-born Uri has lived in the UK for over 2 decades. His humble home is a mansion modelled after the White House located in Berkshire, England.
I will be at the studio at around 4 for the 6 o'clock.
Uri's lavish lifestyle is in stark contrast to his less than impressive beginnings.
I came from a very poor family. We had absolutely no money. My mother was a waitress and a seamstress, and I promised her, "Mom, one day I'll stop you from working." So there was that desire, that burning urge to make a lot of money quickly. I believed in myself. I was inspired to be successful.
Uri's unfathomable powers took the world by storm.
I was shocked at my being catapulted into stardom so quickly.
And Uri's talent soon extended to more than just spoon bending. He realised he had an even greater potential in his hands.
It's called dowsing. And as you see, they're very, very sensitive, and I barely touch them. Now we're walking towards the water level in my garden, and the minute I will hit the water level, these rods will actually open up. You see, they're beginning. It means that there's much more water under us here than the eye can see. Yeah, look, it's amazing. I'm always amazed when this, oh wow.
These powers helped Uri to make tens of millions of dollars.
In the early 70s, I would look for oil and gold and diamonds and coal, either using these or the hands. My hands were dowsing over a map, and then I took my Sharpie, my pen, put an X, and I said, drill here, that's where the oil is.
If spoon bending for the public had made Uri famous, dowsing for the highest bidder made him his fortune.
I realized that, my gosh, there is more money in finding metal than bending metal.
Uri became staggeringly rich, staggeringly quickly, and this sent him on the road to self-destruction.
Suddenly, a poor kid from Israel, is making millions of dollars in a matter of weeks. I bought everything. It was just so decadent. I was obsessed with fame and fortune. But I couldn't quite handle it. I was very shallow. I was on an ego trip. I wanted to make it, to be famous and rich, and it became almost obsessive. As a matter of fact, it wasn't that healthy. I became bulimic. I had panic attacks. I had anxiety attacks. I was just burning myself up very quickly. I felt emptiness, and I felt lonely, and I thought to myself, is this all what money is about? That's terrible. It didn't bring me happiness. Certainly money cannot bring you health, and it certainly can't bring you love. So I knew that I have to somehow climb out of this success story, no matter how wealthy I was, beginning to become. I knew that money is not everything.
It was crunch time for Uri, when help came from one of the most famous men on the planet.
It was actually John Lennon that showed me the path. One day he looks at me and says to me, Uri, do you know what spirituality is? And I looked at him and I realized that I don't know what spirituality means. And I said, no, what is it, John? And he said, well, you go out there and find it. Chico! Good dog!
In a dramatic move, Uri turned his back on the material world.
I gave away all my belongings in 1981. My apartments in Manhattan, my house in Greenwich, Connecticut, my fleet of cars. I got on a plane with my mother, my wife, my 2 children and my brother-in-law, and we flew to Japan. I landed in Narita Airport. I hired a van and I drove to Mount Fuji. And I disappeared into Mount Fuji's forest. And I lived there for 1 year. 12 months, no television, no telefaxes, nothing. That's where I found myself. And then I was ready to face the world again. I was a changed person.
Today, Uri spends much of his time meditating in his specially designed Japanese garden, a reminder of his Mount Fuji days. And he tries to use what he learned there to infuse others with positivity and belief.
Today I describe myself as a motivator, as a person who inspires others, a person who tries to show people that positive thinking is an energy, that it's a power that we can all use and harness. This is a fantastic form of meditation for me. As I'm being lifted up, the blood rushes right into my head.
Uri's world was turned on its head when he became rich and famous. Today, upside down is simply a state of contentment.
I don't miss what I went through in the 70s. As a matter of fact, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad that I don't have that frenzy of activities that surrounded me in the 70s.
Uri Geller is just one in an elite club of the world's super rich, known for their philanthropy. Europe's biggest benefactor, Hungarian-born investor George Soros, has reportedly donated some €5 billion to promote democracy in the former Soviet bloc. Bill Gates is the world's greatest philanthropist. He gave 3 billion euros in 2004 alone, and ultimately intends to bequeath 90% of his 50 billion euro fortune. On a smaller scale, Pink Floyd guitarist Dave Gilmour recently sold his 5 million euro London mansion and gave the money to homeless charities. Eminem, the most successful hip-hop artist in the world, has sold 65 million records. The Spice Girls, the biggest-selling girl band ever, sold 75 million records. U2, the biggest band in the world, have sold 120 million records. Formula One racing drivers are reportedly interested in the plate F1, despite its valuation of over 500,000 euros. The registration DAV1D is valued at 140,000 euros. And other unusual plates, all of which are sold for over 100,000 euros, include P1LOT and MUS1C. Israeli paranormalist Uri Geller has a very personal reminder of his halcyon days of superstardom.
Yeah, this is an amazing car. It took me 7 months to put together. I collected probably in 4 decades spoons from really interesting and important, influential people around the world. There are spoons here that belong to prime ministers, presidents like John F. Kennedy, Yitzhak Rabin, Yasser Arafat, Saddam Hussein. This belonged to John Lennon, Elvis Presley, Beethoven, Chopin, Houdini. I have received a serious offer from a Japanese collector for $1 million, and I obviously turned it down because to me it's worth much more.
The days of earning millions of dollars every month may be over, but Uri still generates an enormous income. As well as being a prolific author, he makes a fortune designing his own jewellery collection, which he sells on the home shopping channel QVC.
Fashion is a huge industry today. It's a multi-billion pound industry. And there are hundreds of thousands of people out there who love my rock crystal gold jewellery.
Business may be booming, but Uri is unmoved by the world of finance.
Business doesn't impress me at all. I think everyone could be a good businessman. Everyone could be successful. But it's under that success which counts for me.
Uri's brother-in-law, Shippy, is also his manager. He handles all the finances, quite literally.
Since the early 70s, I haven't touched money nor a credit card. I don't have a wallet. I became so non-materialistic. I simply could not gel the material world and the spiritual world together. It's quite amazing. I'm astonished that I've never signed a check. I can't say never, but very rarely in the last 35 years. That's the way I am. And some people find it really bizarre. But I feel that I've achieved something with that. That indeed I spiritualized myself fully by not handling any business affairs or paying for something.
Uri may never fully comprehend the powers that brought him vast wealth, but he keeps his philosophy on success simple.
Be a positive thinker. Be inspired and motivated. Be yourself. And then you'll be successful. That's a universal law.